That Christmas was released in 2024 and was directed by Simon Otto. My god, I really do need to get used to saying that title, it's so odd. It tells the story taking place in Wellington-on-Sea, where a very bad blizzard comes in and that completely changes people's plans for Christmas. I'm not gonna lie, the plot of the film is very hard to summarise. I saw the trailer for that Christmas pop up on Netflix. My god, that's such a weird title to say. But I thought it looked interesting enough. The animation looked nice enough. It looked interesting enough. It's directed by Simon Otto, who is heavily involved with the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy and Dragon's Race to the Edge, which is awesome. So I got curious and decided to give it a chance. And after watching it, I thought it was good. Not great, not amazing, just decent, enjoyable. The storyline for me is the biggest problem. I actually think it's the movie's biggest letdown. The storyline is very messy. It's not that cohesive. There's way too much in it, and half of the plots have nothing to do with the main plot, completely irrelevant, and go absolutely nowhere. You've got the main plot with Danny, his mother, and the school teacher. You got a little subplot with Sam and her sister, which those two plots should have been the only film's focus. But then you got another two plots with a group of parents and their kids. The parents leave their kids in this house to look after themselves, and then the parents go away, and then the parents end up, not being able to get home to the kids for Christmas. And then you got this subplot where they're all just stuck and they're not with the kids, and then the kids are doing crazy shenanigans. Those two plots were so dumb and they just go absolutely nowhere, and they're just not needed. They're just pointless because they're just so irrelevant. They add nothing to the main plot. The film really should have only focused on Danny, his mother, and the school teacher, and the little subplot with the two sisters, because like I said, those two plots I think were where the film's heart and charm really showed. And I think those two plots desperately need a lot more development because they felt a little uncooked to me. The other two plots are just so pointless. They're not even that interesting. There's also times where the plot with the kids, I'm not gonna lie, there's a scene where they get up to random shenanigans, and I'm gonna be honest, I found that scene to be quite cringy. I also did think there was a bit of plot holes that weren't really answered. Like, we learn about Danny's dad. We just learned that he wasn't able to make it home for Christmas, but they don't really go in much with that. Like, they don't explain what happened with his dad, and that kind of got me very confused, especially with the real happy ending. The direction by Simon Otto is a little bit disappointing. It's not bad, he's certainly trying his best. I just think it could be better. They really should have just focused on Danny, his mother, the school teacher, and the two sisters, and that's it. They should have completely removed the other two plots because they just added nothing to the film. The film's humour, though, is actually really funny. There is some jokes that fall flat and some scenes are a bit cringy, like I said, but I do think for the most part the film's humour is actually quite funny. There definitely is heart and charm in the film, but I think if they focused on the right plots, we would have got more of that. The storyline is just not that cohesive. It just feels like a bunch of random subplots, and at times it doesn't even feel like much is going on. It just feels like a bunch of fillery nonsense is happening just to pad up the film's runtime. The animation of the movie is actually very nice. The character designs are a little too round, I feel, but they're still good enough. The locations look really nice, and the animation on the snow and the movements are actually really good. And the voice acting is really good too. Everyone's doing a really good job playing these characters. The film's characters are a little bit of a mixed bag. You got some good and some that are just not that interesting. Danny is the main protagonist, and I have to be honest, I genuinely believe he is the most underdeveloped character. With the messy plot, his character arc and story feels very half-baked, and I wish we got more time with him to help flesh him out more. The same goes for his mother. The both of them are decent enough characters, and the relationship with them is definitely the heart of the film, but I really wish we got much more focus on it. The same goes to the school teacher, Miss Trapper, but I do have to say, she's the best character in this movie. She's absolutely hilarious. She looks so much like Miss Grunion from Mr. Peabody and Sherman. She's definitely the hard-to-impress school teacher, but she's just so funny, and her dialogue is just so witty and so well written. Bernadette and the other kids are okay. They have their moments, but they're just not all that interesting. Then as for the parents, while I thought Bernadette's dad, while very idiotic, I actually did think he was quite funny, but the others were just so stupid, and the subplot with them, like I said earlier, just so irrelevant. Sam and her sister were actually pretty good. Their storyline was quite charming with how it went, especially with Sam's sister learning how to be more nicer. And I think the resolution of that character arc towards the end is actually quite funny. And the relationship with Sam and Danny is good enough too. As for Santa and his reindeer, honestly, very forgettable. They're barely in the movie, and whenever they do show up, I completely forgot that they're even in it. Not bad characters, just not that memorable. So the film does have a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the characters. The music of the movie is good enough. It fits the tone and the themes of the film, so it works just enough, I'd say. I am glad I did give this film a chance. It is good, but it could be a lot better. I can definitely see a lot of potential with this film, but I think they really should have just removed the stupid, unnecessary subplots to make the film more cohesive. Overall, that Christmas, oh my god, that title, it's so odd, is good. The storyline is not all that cohesive, the characters are a bit of a mixed bag, but there's enough heart and charm to it with some nice animation and some decent enough music. It may not be a great movie, but it's worth a chance. I'm going to give That Christmas a 7 out of 10. So not a great movie, but good enough. It has enough merit for me to say it's worth giving a chance. Stay tuned for my next Christmas review. Until then, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everyone. See you next time, and skidoosh.